My name is Rachel, and until last fall, I genuinely believed I could survive anything if I just stayed quiet long enough. I thought family was supposed to protect you, especially when you're a single mom, just trying to raise a kind little girl in a world that doesn't always reward kindness. But what happened in my parents' kitchen shattered every illusion I'd clung to. Please subscribe to our channel and tell us in comments from where are you watching this video. It was a chilly Sunday afternoon when we visited my parents' house for what was supposed to be a casual family lunch. My daughter Leia had just turned 7 the week before. She was shy, sweet, a little clumsy, and gentle to a fault. I dressed her in a little yellow cardigan and brought along a tray of cookies we baked together. I wanted to show them we were doing okay on our own, even without a man beside us. My sister Chloe was already there when we arrived. Her heels clicked on the hardwood floor like they owned the place. She wore designer sunglasses indoors, her makeup flawless, her perfume aggressive. Chloe had always been the star. Loud, dramatic, impulsive, praised for her ambition, while my calmness was mistaken for weakness. She looked up and down and said, "You dressed her like a school librarian, Rachel." Mom laughed. Dad didn't even look up from his phone. I ignored the comment. I always did. Lunch started off stiff. Chloe spent most of the time bragging about her latest brand deal, some skincare line she barely used. She made digs at my stay-at-home vibe and suggested I should get back out there because, in her words, no man wants a woman who disappears into motherhood. I looked at my mom, silently asking for backup. She just refilled Chloe's wine glass. It wasn't until dessert that the real storm hit. Leia accidentally knocked over Chloe's teacup while trying to reach for the cookie tray. It happened in a blink. The cup tipped, tea spilled, and some drops splashed onto Chloe's cashmere sleeve. Barely lukewarm, mind you, but Chloe erupted like I'd never seen before. "Are you kidding me?" she screamed, leaping up. "You little brat!" Leia froze, her eyes wide and terrified. "I'm sorry," she whispered, tears welling up. But Chloe wasn't finished. She stormed to the counter, grabbed the fresh kettle Dad had just boiled, yanked it off the base, and without even thinking, flung its contents toward the floor near Leia's feet. I gasped. Leia shrieked and jumped back. Boiling tea splashed across the tile, thankfully missing her by inches. The floor hissed. I rushed forward, pulling Leia into my arms. Her socks were soaked, but her skin was safe, barely. I turned, eyes blazing. "What is wrong with you?" And do you know what my mother said? "She didn't hit her, Rachel. Don't be dramatic. Chloe's just passionate." I looked at my father. He muttered, "Should have kept the kid seated. No discipline anymore." That moment broke something in me. A silence stretched between us like a crack in the earth. Chloe rolled her eyes, sat down again and poured herself more tea like nothing had happened. Leia clung to me crying. I checked her feet. No burns, just pink from fright. But the betrayal, that would take longer to fade. I packed our things quietly. I didn't yell. I didn't fight. I didn't even cry. Not yet. I just said thank you for lunch and left. But as I buckled Leia into her seat, I looked back at that house. That house where I grew up learning that love was conditional, loyalty was selective, and my pain was always too inconvenient to acknowledge. That's when I decided they would never have access to me or my daughter again, not until they learned the meaning of consequences, and I would make sure Chloe understood exactly what passion without boundaries costs. 3 weeks passed. I didn't answer their texts. I ignored their missed calls. I left their birthday voicemail for Leia unheard. I wasn't going to pretend anymore. Meanwhile, I focused all my energy on Leia. She had nightmares for days after that Sunday. She'd cry in her sleep, mumbling, "Don't yell at me." I sat beside her bed every night and promised, "No one will hurt you again. I promise." But a promise means nothing if you don't act on it. Then something strange happened. One morning, I got an email from a lawyer. Apparently, my parents were working with Chloe to apply for guardianship over Laya, claiming I was mentally unstable and creating parental alienation by denying family contact. I stared at the screen, shaking. I almost threw my coffee cup across the room. They were trying to take my child. I called the lawyer's office myself, calmly, pretending to be interested in resolving things quietly. That's when I learned it was Chloe's fiancé's firm. Oh, so it was personal. I knew Chloe. She was always obsessed with winning. But this was war. What she didn't know, I had already started preparing. The day we left their house, I'd taken Laya straight to a trauma therapist. Every session was documented. I kept receipts, medical records, screenshots of texts where my mom mocked my parenting, and Dad called me overly emotional. And then I played my ace. You see, what no one knew, not Chloe, not even my parents, was that I had once worked with a nonprofit that helped domestic abuse survivors. I'd learned the legal system inside out. I knew the power of evidence, and I knew exactly how to file an emergency protective order, especially one backed with professional testimony and a paper trail. But I didn't stop there. I had also saved copies of my parents' financial documents from when I used to do their taxes. My name was still attached to a family investment fund from years ago, a fund they'd forgotten I co-owned because they never thought I'd use it. I withdrew every dollar legally, quietly. Then I called the retirement home they were on the wait list for and canceled their application, using my legal share of the fund to dissolve their financial eligibility. Chloe. I hit her where it hurt most. Remember that skincare brand she bragged about? I emailed them anonymously with video clips taken from that lunch, her screaming at a child, yelling, "Brat." The boiling water on the floor. Yes, I'd had my phone recording in my pocket the whole time. A reflex I'd picked up from working in legal aid. 2 weeks later, the brand cut ties with her. Her sponsorship dropped. Her online followers plummeted. One Reddit thread went viral. Is Chloe Carter actually abusive? Still, I didn't speak. I didn't show up. I let my silence roar. The final straw. My parents showed up at my doorstep. They didn't knock. They banged. "Rachel, this has gone too far." Laya was at school. I opened the door, calm, collected, holding the legal restraining order in my hand. "You are no longer allowed within 200 FT of me or my child," I said. My father tried to push past me. "We're your family." "No," I said. "You're her family, but you were never mine." He turned to Mom. "Say something." She crossed her arms. "Rachel, she didn't mean to hurt Laya. It's called being dramatic." I raised my voice for the first time in years. "That's not drama. That's abuse. And you enabled it." They flinched. "You watched her throw boiling liquid near a child and called it passion. You let her scream at a 7-year-old. And now you're angry I stood up for my daughter." They were speechless. "You taught me that silence was survival. But I'm teaching my daughter that silence is a cycle. We don't protect abusers here, even if they share our blood." Then I closed the door. That night, Laya and I danced barefoot in the kitchen. We ate cookies. We laughed. For the first time in years, I felt free. But I wasn't done yet. 3 months had passed. Laya was healing. She still had moments, flinches when a voice raised or when someone moved too fast, but she was blooming again. She painted every day. She laughed more. Her therapist said the transformation was remarkable. Me? I was finally building something of my own. It started with a local community group for mothers, moms like me, women who had been gaslit by their families, dismissed by courts, or called dramatic protecting their children. We met once a week, then twice. Then soon, I had enough stories to realize this wasn't just my story. It was happening everywhere. I wasn't alone. So I built something bigger. With help from a former lawyer friend, I registered the Quiet Flame Project, a support network and legal fund for mothers escaping family-based emotional abuse. We got local coverage, then regional. A blogger picked it up. A viral TikTok creator interviewed me anonymously. The phrase from that clip spread everywhere. If they call her passionate, ask them why the child's still crying. Meanwhile, Chloe, she tried to pivot to being a healing coach online, but it didn't work. The brand partnerships were gone. Old DMs of her mocking fans leaked. A mother she bullied during a live stream came forward, then another and another. Eventually, her Instagram was wiped clean. She reached out to me once, an email with the subject, "Let's end this war." I didn't reply. I didn't need to because the final blow was already in motion. At my daughter's school's spring showcase, Laya stood on stage in front of hundreds of parents. She was reading a poem she'd written herself. I didn't know what it would be. She looked at the microphone, small hand shaking, and began. My family said I should be quiet, but quiet felt like drowning. My mom said, "Speak louder." So I did, and the whole world started listening. When she finished, people stood and clapped. Some were crying. I was crying. In that moment, I didn't need revenge. I didn't need apologies or dramatic confessions because I had the truth and my daughter had her voice. As the crowd applauded, I looked to the back of the room, and there they were. My parents, standing far behind, not clapping, not smiling, just watching. They weren't invited, but I wasn't surprised. They looked older now, diminished, outsiders in a world they once ruled through fear and control. And when Laya stepped off that stage and ran into my arms, full of light and safety and fire, I realized something. They'd lost. Not because I fought them, but because I didn't become them. Because I chose to protect, not to please. Because I built a life where my daughter would never again question if she mattered. So when my mom whispered from the back, "Rachel, please," I held Laya close, kissed her forehead, and turned my back to them. "Let's go home," I said. We walked away. Justice wasn't screaming in court. It was walking away without needing their validation. It was raising a child who knew her worth. And that was the sweetest revenge of all. Please subscribe to our channel and tell us in comments from where are you watching this video.